Number 1, consider approving the March 24th, 2022 business session minutes. Item number 2, consider ratifying the reappointment of Jack Poole, Chairman's Representative to the Board of Code Review through May 31st, 2024. Item number 3, consider ratifying the reappointment of Scott W. Hazlitt, Chairman's Representative to the Board of Code Review through May 31st, 2024. Item number 4, consider ratifying the reappointment of Stephen Biscat, Chairman's Representative to the Board of Code Review through May 31st, 2024. Item number 5, consider ratifying the reappointment of Robert Bob Willis, Chairman's Representative to the Board of Code Review through May 31st, 2025. And item number 6, request for a proposal, RFP 2020-045, consider authorizing a contract extension with Witt O'Brien's LLC, expending the remaining balance of $130,150 from the original contract authorization for COVID-19 disaster recovery consulting services through the federal and state and local fiscal recovery fund, SLFRF, grant period ending December 31st, 2024.
Brent Christensen. Brent here. Maury, okay.
Good morning again, Chairman and Commissioners. Maury Thompson, Deputy County Manager. I believe this is an item that you are familiar with. This is merely asking for contract extension with Witt O'Brien's at the cost that's already been authorized for an additional 2-year period.
Okay. Questions? All right. Well, they've done a good job for us. Thank you.
Yes, they have. Thank you.
This will remain on consent. Next item.
Item number 7, IFB number 2022-018. Consider authorizing a contract with Superior Bowen Asphalt Company, LLC, for 14.5 miles of overlays at various locations in unincorporated Johnson County in an amount not to exceed $3,398,995.
Okay. Public Works.
Good morning, Ryan Sims with Public Works. This contract is part of our Public Works annual asphalt maintenance program. We place a strong emphasis on maintaining our existing infrastructure. By maintaining our overlay and maintenance schedule, we reduce the need for more expensive full-depth repairs in future years. We followed county purchasing procedures and received 3 bids for this. Unit prices for our bid items across the board were roughly up about 20% from past year, and our engineer's estimate is accounted for this. Superior Bowen Asphalt Company was the low bid, and they have provided successful overlay projects for the county in the past. If there are any questions at this time, we'll be glad to answer them.
With what's happened to the price of oil, how much was there a price increase? How much?
Yeah, so our surface asphalt courses are about 19% up from last year.
All right, other questions? Ms. O'Hara.
Yeah, how do we decide which projects we do asphalt and which projects we do chip and seal?
So every paved street on our unincorporated network is on a maintenance cycle. So we rotate between the chip seal and the more extensive overlay depending on where they're at in the middle of the cycle. We have kind of a comprehensive matrix based on geometrics, traffic volumes, roadway width that we put into make our decisions.
Okay, I'll if you could just email me those specifics, that would be great.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, other questions? Mr. Ashcraft.
Mr. Chairman, this appears to be in good order. It'd be fine for consent if you're so inclined.
Well, is there any objection to consent?
Nope.
All right, so noted. Next item.
Item number 8, consider approving an agreement with Miami County, Kansas for the use of the County Communications Center, CCC, as a backup for Miami County's Communications Center.
Mr. Davis.
Paul Davis, Department of Emergency Services. Good morning. We're asking board to approve an agreement with Miami County, Kansas, allowing the Johnson County Communications Center to serve as their backup for their public safety answering point. Because of the current capacity we have, weather-hardened structure, this is a good place, and we're able to provide this service to other counties in the region, and currently Wyandotte County is using our communications center as a backup public safety answering point. We offer the immediate availability of 911 radio capacity to handle 911 calls and emergency radio traffic, and we can allow them to train at least twice per year to make sure they're familiar with the equipment. Now, There are no additional costs to Johnson County because of this agreement, but it also stipulates an annual rate and fee for them to pay, which is indicated in Appendix A. So we're recommending to the board approve this agreement with Miami County.
Okay. Well, as long as we have the current capacity, it sounds like fine to me. Other questions, Mr. Ashcraft?
Mr. Chairman, this appears to be in good order, too. I'm fine with it being in consent.
Any objection? Okay, so noted. Next item.
Item number 9, resolution number 006-22. Consider whether to approve and adopt resolution number 006-22 to authorize and direct the issuance, sale, and delivery of taxable general obligation internal improvement bonds, Series 2022A, WIFIA of Johnson County, Kansas, for the purpose of providing funds to finance certain wastewater improvements in an aggregate principal amount of not to exceed $281,456,000, providing for the levy and collection of an annual tax for the purpose of paying the principal of and interest on said bonds as they become due, and making certain covenants and agreements to provide for the payment and security thereof, and authorizing certain other documents and actions connected therewith.
Ms. Friedel?
Hi, I'm Leslie Friedel from Budget and Financial Planning, and this item is basically the culmination of months of work by wastewater, EPA, bond counsel, and EPA's counsel, and other people, our financial advisor, Baker Tilly, and we are looking forward to hopefully wrapping this up next week and bringing before you a final agreement between the EPA and the county or wastewater to enter into this WIFIA credit agreement to borrow $281,456,000 for the Nelson wastewater treatment facility.
Ms. Friedel, is this as part of an agreement, or does this authorize issuance thereof?
It authorizes the issuance, but the agreement, it will be basically similar to a bond sale. The rate will be known. If for some reason EPA cannot meet our next Thursday's date, bond counsel Kevin Wimpy has advised me that we can probably still go forward, but you would not be able to sign off on the documents till they're ready to go final. But everybody's working towards next Thursday as a goal.
Well, I think this should remain on action. Any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Next item.
Item number 10, consider authorizing a contract with Johnson Controls Fire Protection, LP, for fire protection services in the amount not to exceed $500,000 for a one-year term with 4 optional annual renewals per National Association of State Procurement Officials, NASPO, Contract 3407.
Ms. Waters?
Good morning, Commissioners. Joe Waters, County Manager's Office, Interim Facilities Director. Commissioners, this is a request for a contract award to Johnson Controls Fire Protection Group. This would be in an amount not to exceed $500,000 each year for the next 5 years. This is being put forward under a cooperative agreement. And what it replaces for us is a process that has been in place for ever, in which the county facilities department contracts individually with different firms that can provide support for the wide variety of fire alarm systems and fire protection systems that exist in our buildings today. You can see in the briefing sheet the listing of those kinds of systems, whether it's fire alarm systems, sprinkler systems, be they wet or dry, supervision, pre-action systems, all of these antifreeze systems, kitchen hoods, all sorts of protection systems that are put in place for life safety, for building occupants and users, as well as to protect the property. There's a wide variety of maintenance and monitoring, testing, and certification requirements that go with these systems as well. This effort to put all of these under one contract is a direction that many organizations are moving toward. It will improve our reporting and our assurances by virtue of managing these contracts centrally, but our assurance that we are complying in all of the myriad of requirements in the maintenance and operations of these systems. It will also, over time, save us money over what we are doing today. The initial cost is, there is a one-time cost in that first year to connect all of these systems together so that they can be monitored remotely from the vendor, Johnson Controls, and then the ongoing cost will be at about $166,000 a year compared to what had gradually grown up to last year in 2021, $202,000 annual expense. The balance of that 202 per year and the the 166 a year and that estimated potential 500 that's being requested is that this vendor will also be there, and under this contract would be the firm we would use to effect repairs or replacements. These systems generally, a wide variety of systems, but they will last a long time, maybe 20 years, 25 years. But this is supporting 52 buildings. A number of these systems are getting older. I believe we're already replacing one this year. As they age out, they do need to be replaced. And those replacement costs, depending on the scope and the scale, those can be $40,000 to $75,000, $80,000 pieces of work. So in aggregate, we think that that 500 will cover the expense, but the contract will also be available to other Johnson County operations. So wastewater has fire alarm systems. They may also want to access this contract, Parks and Recreation, other properties that Facilities does not directly manage. So we think that that 500 is a good number, but we will learn over time if it could be kind of reduced down or dialed down, or if it might need to be increased.
Any questions? Ms. O'Hara?
Okay, the 500,000, that includes the servicing, so it's going to actually be the actual cost, and you said last year was 202,000, so actually this is going to be 300,000 plus the monitoring, or is it going to be 500,000 plus the annual cost?
500,000 would be the total, both
Right.
for the monitoring as well as any repairs.
Right,
or
okay,
replacements
so
that
then
are
in the
needed.
next year, then we're anticipating like 166,000, okay.
Yes.
Okay, got it, thanks.
Mr. Myers?
And so on the 500,000 includes the other entities being able to piggyback on?
It will depend upon how many repairs or replacements that we have to do in a given year. But if that happens, and this is working successfully, we may well need then to come to the board and say we need to bump up the annual to allow for other departments or agencies to jump.
And then we are just reimbursed from the other entities
They-
outside?
Well, those other entities would be like Parks or wastewater. They both can have ready access to these.
Okay, so we're just saying within Johnson County, but
Yes, sir.
not outside?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Ashcraft?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, conceptually, I think this approach is worth pursuing, although before next week, Mr. Waters, if I could meet with you or Ms. Bruges or Burge?
Right, yes.
Bruges? Burden? Virgin, my apologies.
Well, okay, what's the desire of the commission? Consent or action?
I'd be okay.
I would prefer to keep it on action.
All right, so noted. Are there any other items?
No, sir.
All right, that concludes our agenda review. One question, do we have a committee of the whole or study session at all next week?
Oh, next week? Yes, we do. What is it again? Oh, the ETC survey next week.
I'm sorry, what?
ETC survey next week at 1 o'clock.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you very much. All right, that concludes our agenda review. Have a nice weekend, and we hope the Royals have a great day today. Thank you.
Thank you,
And
Mr.
my
Chair.
golfers in the Masters.
And your what?